You're listening to Mr. Credit on San Diego 1700 with local credit expert Derek Evans. Now, live in studio, Mr. Credit.
Welcome to Mr. Credit. We are live and local here in San Diego, Sorrento Valley. This is the most important hour on radio in the land. We're telling you everything they don't want you to know about the world of finance and consumer credit scoring. Send me an email. Go to mrcreditradio.com. I'll get to your emails a little bit later here in the show, or do a Facebook for Mr. Credit, and you will find me there. Padres are doing great. They're in first place right now. I've got in the studio with me Dan Kerr with Kerr Law. Dan, you went to the game last night. How was it?
It was a great game. The pitcher went 3 for 3. I mean, everybody was hitting except for the middle of the lineup. But good win last night, 9-0. It was a great game. Yeah, you can catch all the Padres games right here on San Diego 1700. Tonight we've got Milwaukee again at 7 p.m. Downtown at Petco Park. If you want to listen on the air, you can always check it here. This is why you need to save this station in your dial. Now, today we're going to be talking, we've obviously got Dan Kerr in the studio, so we're going to be talking a lot about very important stuff regarding the law and how you can use it to your advantage instead of having it work against you. And we're also going to be talking about how much money the credit bureaus make. Now, I get this question all the time, and there's one way you can tell. There's 3 bureaus. One of the bureaus is a publicly owned company. We're going to go through their recent financials here in just a second. There's also some news about TransUnion and the ability for employers to pull credit that we're going to talk about. And there's some debt settlement reform that's around the corner, or there's some laws that have been introduced, and that's something that we're going to touch on as well. First and foremost, how much money do the credit bureaus make? Well, we've talked about how they make money. They make money, obviously, through the banks. The banks fund purchasing a lot of credit reports from them, but they also buy your information. This is the part that disgusts me. If it disgusts you, then bring a trash can closer. Brooke, just go ahead and slide the trash can a little closer to you. We've got to understand that these are for-profit businesses, and that's what they're there for. They're not there to guard your credit, and that's the mistake that most people make. They think that the bureaus are there to protect them. It's not the case. They're there to make money. And I'm going to tell you how much here in a minute. It's going to make you sick. Now, they make this money by selling the credit reports, but also selling your personal info. Now, how do they do that? Why do they have the ability to sell your personal information? Because everyone is opted in at birth. You're opted in. Your information, your job, how much money you make, what your social security number is, what your credit score is, the debts you have, everything that's on your credit report. The bureaus are masters of gathering information. They sell this information to companies who want to market to you for specific reasons. And they'll continue to do it until you tell them that they can't. And that's the way that it's set up. I don't agree with it one bit. I hate it. I don't think it's right. But it is what it is. So, if you haven't already and you want to remove your name from these lists, if you want to stop the credit bureau from making money off of your information without you getting a piece of it at all, here's what you need to do. You need to go to opt-out, O-P-T-O-U-T, pre-screen, P-R-E-S-C-R-E-E-N.com. Now, you can electronically opt yourself out of this database for 5 years. Doing it online takes 2 minutes. But you're going to also, what you need to do is you need to write them a letter. Write them a letter so that you can permanently opt out of this database. If you do that, then they can no longer sell your information. Now, if you want to get down to the nuts and bolts, let's do it. Equifax. There's 3 credit bureaus. Equifax is the only one that's publicly traded. TransUnion and Experian are not. Experian is freecreditreport.com. So when you see that commercial and you see those funny-looking guys singing those funny songs, that's Experian. Okay? I would love to know what their profit report looks like, but they're privately owned, so we'll never know. We just have to go off what Equifax reports so that we can get an idea of how much money these guys are making with this stuff. Now, Equifax, if you want to check the ticker symbol, it's EFX. So you go to Yahoo Finance, type in EFX, and you can pull up this exact same information. Now, this was from yesterday. Equifax today announced financial results for the quarter ended March 31st, 2010. So the first quarter, 3 months, the company reported revenue of $461.3 million. Wow.
$461 million in 3 months. That is, I did the math already, $153,766,000 a month, or about $7.3 million a day.
And it still takes them 6 weeks to respond to a letter.
If they respond at all. Now, and we've outlined what their goal is with dispute letters. I don't even want to get started on that. But if we're talking about $7.3 million a day, that's almost $1 million an hour. In the time that it takes this show to air today, the Bureau will have made $1 million. Just Equifax. $1 million in that amount of time. So the money that we're talking about here is ginormous.
Well, hopefully they'll make a little less now because I just opted out.
Good job, Dan. And you can do the same thing. If you don't want to be a part of letting the Bureau make money off of selling your information, go to optoutprescreen.com. You can electronically opt out for 5 years right there, send a letter in as well, and opt out permanently. Now, the thing to keep in mind with these numbers, keep in mind this is actual revenue. This is net profit that we're talking about. They made $461 million in 3 months, and that's after they paid everybody. That's after their expenses. That's after all these private jets and all these huge bonuses and huge salaries. That's after. That's the earnings per share. That's how much is left over in the pot once it's all said and done. Now, how much they really brought in, who knows? We could go look at the gross amounts and probably figure it out. But the reality is, how are they making this money and who's footing the bill? Well, for the most part, it's the banks. They're the ones who are paying the money to run the different screens, to check people's credit, to make sure that they're still credit worthy if they have lines of credit with them. They're pulling credit reports for people and doing things along those lines. But also, what I wanted to bring up was how much money they're making off of selling your info. So this is what they call it. And I think this is hilarious. They call this section of their business U.S. Consumer Information Solutions. Consumer Information Solutions. You like that, Dan?
That's good.
I like the title myself. Total revenue was $191.4 million. So, $461 total million in revenue. $191 million comes from this. So not quite half, but let's call it 40% for the sake of math. Now, this was down 6% from the first quarter of 2009, and I hope that I had something to do with that by encouraging you to go to optoutprescreen.com and remove your name from this list that allows them to sell your personal information to anyone who's willing to pay for it so that they can have the benefit of knowing exactly who they're marketing to. Now, they have a few different types of sub-businesses within this category. Online consumer information solutions, mortgage solutions, consumer financial marketing services, and direct marketing services. Now, I'll tell you, the reason that I knew about this is because I used to run a big company that sent a lot of mail. We sent hundreds of thousands of pieces of mail, and I purchased these lists for that company. And I know what information that they can get. They can get anything.
So you're the reason I got that junk mail.
Yes, I was. It's been about 10 years, but yes. They send the junk mail out, but they target it. They say, you know what? We want to find people who have this particular age. We want to find people who have this particular income. We want people who have this credit score. We want people who have more than this much debt or less than this much of revolving debt. We want to find people who have mortgages that were created within these certain dates so that we can maybe refinance them. That's what the mortgage solutions revenue is all about.
And you know who has all that information? The credit cartel.
The credit cartel. That's exactly who it is. Now, I don't have any idea how much revenue Experian would be reporting, but my guess is that it would be somewhere in the realm of double this. They're the freecreditreport.com guys who have all the recurring revenue from that. Equifax has a product that's similar, but you've never even heard of it. All the bureaus, they just follow each other around. They're kind of like three sheep aimlessly wandering. And they have so much money, and they have so much pull because they have so much information that that's valuable, and it's legal for them to sell it. Now, Dan, as a competent attorney, what do you think personally about the fact that the Bureau can sell your information unless you tell them not to?
Well, the privacy laws are set up to protect you, but they make you take affirmative action in order to protect you. So essentially, they're worthless because 99% of the population doesn't know that or doesn't ever take any action. Who's got time to send out letters to the credit bureau so that they don't sell your information that you don't think they should be selling in the first place?
Right. Well, my problem with it personally is that if your information can be sold, don't you think someone should have to notify you at least before they sell it? I mean,
personally, yes, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, if it's the case that they can sell everyone's information,
especially if they're making that kind of money off of it.
That kind of money, that's crazy money.